Hey guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor and leverage for change. Today I'm coming to you to kind of go more in depth in the dismissive avoidant partner and why it is that they actually why it is they behave the way they actually do, and what to look for, some of the signs and the reasons why they do what they do. It's sad that most of these attachment styles were developed as a result of the interaction with their caregivers in the young years of from birth basically to about age 5, and this is where they learned and these attachment styles, this is when these attachment styles were developed, and and they also learned the coping skills for these different ways of attaching to their caregivers at that time. And sadly, the way they were attached to their caregivers also now permeates how they now relate in their adult intimate relationships, because it's almost as if they are, it's like they're reflecting what their caregivers did to them in the way that they now show up in intimate relationships. So the dismissive avoidant partner is usually one of the biggest problem that they have is with the lack of trust. They don't trust anyone. And yet they will get into relationships, but it's not because they trust you, it's because they do have a need. Everybody has a need to relate and have some kind of a closeness to somebody else. But the problem with them is like, because they don't trust anyone, they basically cannot really maintain that relationship. And especially it also depends on the the attachment style of the person, that their relationship, how well they can even, how long it will even last. But I won't go into the other styles right now, because of course, you know, they have the secure, which is a, you know, the way these children were they were there, the caregivers was there, they could be depended on to be there for these children, and so they developed a secure attachment style. The other one is the avoidant, I'm sorry, the anxious preoccupied, and they usually have an inconsistent way of you know, the caregivers responded to them in an inconsistent manner, which meant that they also, when they did respond, the anxious preoccupied latches onto them basically, and they can't take that discomfort between not knowing if that person will be there for them or not. So they're always anxious about the relationship. Their focus is always like 100% on the relationship, and they're very focused on any little signal that will give an indication of why it is, if this person will abandon them. Their fear, the anxious preoccupied fear, is a fear of abandonment, whereas the dismissive avoidant partner is, their biggest problem is a lack of trust for anyone actually, but specifically for their intimate partners. So I'm going to be speaking today about the dismissive avoidant, okay, and their huge problem with the lack of trust and how it impacts relationships that they're in later on with their intimate partners. So they basically grew up in an environment where they just could not trust that their caregivers would be there for them at any time. You know, they were left for long periods of time, maybe not unchanged in their, you know, their diapers not changed, maybe hungry and crying, and nobody would come and take care of them. They, you know, whatever it is that they did for attention, there was just no response. And this can happen in homes with parents who were also mentally incapacitated. You know, they had a mental issue as well. They might have been narcissist or some other thing who was just all for themselves. And well, child, that's just another thing in the house. And it could have been that they were also had mental, addiction problems. the parents could have had addiction problems, and so they were just not able to care properly for a child because they were so into getting the next thing for that addiction to, you know, resolve that addiction, that they were just not focused on taking care of a child. The other problem too is that it could just be a single parent, a single mom who just did not have the time. She was probably working 2 jobs and coming home and cleaning house and taking care of everything else, you know, and then taking care of children. There might also have been multiple children, and there was just no time to really just spend enough time with one. And so there are multiple reasons why this could happen, and what could have perpetuated this kind of attachment style. Sorry. So that's the kind of background that you're looking at for somebody with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. So because of this lack of trust in really if they can depend on their caregivers, the way they coped was by going inside, you know. So they would go inside of their minds to really make up scenarios of what, you know. So they're very imaginative, right? So they'll go in and think of things that will make them cope with this, right? Scenarios. The other thing that they did was that they learned to which is one of the ways they self-soothe, which means, you know, they will sit down and they might be very good at playing a lot of the gaming. So they will be on their computers or their whatever it is, just playing all the time, because they know they were not going to get that kind of attention from anyone else, but that computer thing and the gaming was always there. So they may have developed a real passion for stuff like gaming, or they could have, the other negative part was that they may visit porn sites to get that kind of a addiction, that kind of a attention and that thing filled. The thing is, they also, because they do not have trust, is usually trust for people. So they may have pets, right? Because for a pet, the pet does not require anything of you, right? They will be there for you whenever and whatever thing, and they don't require all that kind of a emotional connection, you know, that emotional thing that you have to now pacify from another partner. The pets really, if they'll sit there and just be there with you. Also the same thing with a porn site. You go there and you're not really emotionally attached to anything. You're just watching porn. It could be the gaming thing, you know, that excitement of that. It doesn't require any emotional connection. Whatever does not require emotional connection, they'll find a way and use that as a self-soothing coping mechanism to be able to get through. And so a lot of the times these people, they like to be alone, because it's when they are alone, if they're with you all the time, they just cannot keep up that emotional connection, right? So as a matter of fact, sometimes what they will do is they will actually pick fights, maybe not intentionally, but it's just their way of coping when things get too emotionally connected, too emotionally dense. They cannot cope with it. So because they learned as children not to get emotionally connected, right? Because when you get emotionally connected, there is pain. And so as adults, in relationships, they do not want to get emotionally connected. So there's always this wall. There's always this wall that they keep you behind that wall. You can't come past that wall, right? Because they want you over there where they feel safe here when it's not too close and connected, right? So they crave a lot of alone time. They're very comfortable being alone, by the way, guys. So it's not as if when you're alone, you're missing them like it. Oh, they're very happy by themselves alone. They're very happy because they find other ways of self-soothing. They go on the computer, they play games, whatever it is they do. They could be dating multiple people, because if you're dating multiple people, you're not connecting too much with one, right? So these are some of the things that you see with a dismissive avoidant partner. They'll always keep you at a distance. You're never sure whether this person is with you or not. There's always this question in your mind. if you get too close to, for example, connecting emotionally, if they feel that, oh, this is just getting too close, you know, like you might, just something between, there may be a period of time where something happens and you both feel very emotionally connected, they will just shut down and they will just disappear on you, because they cannot cope with emotional connection, guys. They fear it like the plague, and so they will do anything to back away, get out of that situation. Now they find it difficult to, as I say, connect into any, develop close connection. They can connect with you for a time, and but when it gets too close, these are the people you will hear their partners say, it's like a roller coaster kind of a relationship, because sometimes it's up, and when they're there, it's oh lovely, and they can make you very happy, and then when they're gone, and you never know. It's almost like, it's like Russian roulette, playing Russian roulette, right? You go, oh, this will be nice, and then bam, they're gone. They're, you know, you're down, up and down, up and down. It's a roller coaster kind of a relationship that you find that these people bring into that relationship. And the weirdest thing is that the dismissive avoidant is somehow, they're attracted to people who are anxious preoccupied, and the anxious preoccupied people wants that close emotional connectivity. So it's very weird that they you know, they dismissive avoidant, but I think it's because they want to kind of it's a innate kind of a thing that they want to say, well, you know, I really am very independent person. It's like it's a self would you say, can't find the word. I'll get back to that when I can remember the word. But anyway, it's like they dismissive avoidant and they anxious preoccupied. They're always attracted to each other. It's like they're damn, I can't remember it. Anyway, they avoid difficult. Oh, they have to. It's like a way of validating. It's like a way of validating who they really are. So the anxious preoccupied is attracted to the dismissive avoidant to validate the, you know, the fact that they're how they think, like men are not usually there for me. And the same thing with the dismissive avoidant. You know, women or men always want this just to close and suffocate you, and like they're so needy. Right? So it's like a way of validating what their belief system is. Okay, so I remember that. The next thing is that they avoid difficult conversations, because remember, guys, difficult conversations, it's going to cause a lot of emotion, bring up a lot of emotional stuff, and they cannot take emotional stuff. They cannot take it, right? So they will disappear. That's when they'll walk out to their stomach, to their house, and oh, I can't take this, I can't take this. And that's what will happen. They don't tend to place too much value on relationships or their partners, because they just never learned that. And also, it's very easy for them to just walk away and not feel anything. You know, you're thinking that you're suffering here, you're dying and everything, and they're gone. They're moved on to another person very easily, because they never had that connection. Okay, so they also will lose themselves in work, because they don't want to have to come and deal with that, you know, who they really are. And so they will bury themselves in work, and so therefore they're usually well paid and very in high. They usually have very make very good income, and they're usually highly placed in organizations because they work so hard, right? Let's see. Whenever they're together with anyone, and it's and too long, too close, they feel like they're smothered and they just have to get away. So guys, my video is getting very long, and I'm gonna have to leave you now, and we'll catch up with it another time. So this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master, doctor, and leverage for change. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.